Well, hello, I'm Dave Bullimore. I'm the Vice President for IT and User Services for the American Red Cross. And I'm here today to talk to you about and show you the Virtual Workplace. It's a solution that we've built that will allow you more mobility, more choice in terms of the devices that you would use to access your Red Cross applications and data. Eliminates the need for you to have to use the VPN. It allows you to access any device anywhere, your Red Cross applications and data. So with that, let's start having a look at the Virtual Workplace. The first question to answer is, how do I get there? And that is simply to navigate in your browser to workplace.redcross.org. You see there on my screen. And once there, you would use your Red Cross network login ID. That's the same ID that you use to access the Exchange, our corporate intranet, or your Office 365 email. And I'm going to sign in, and I'm going to be presented with the Virtual Workplace application portal. And in the portal, there are 3 different types of tiles that I'm going to talk to you about. The first is a tile of convenience, and those are all the tiles that start with a leading asterisk in the name. So you notice Concur here, Office 365 Outlook email, the IT customer portal. Those are all items of convenience, and those will run locally on your device. So those are things that we've determined will run almost universally on Chrome, Safari, Firefox, Internet Explorer, and they also present a low risk in terms of the type of data that you would access through those applications. So those, I'm going to launch Concur just to show you what I mean by a locally launched application. It's going to start Concur up and run on my local device. You see it just started up another tab here and signed me into Concur. So that's a tile of convenience. Others are actually going to run on our Red Cross data center, and they're going to be present to your device. So Transera, for example, I'm going to run, and it's going to launch an application where I'm going to interact with the presentation layer of the application, but the application itself is actually running in our data center. So it is secure. It allows you to access an application from any device because we solve all the compatibility issues present. So here I've got a very specific version of Internet Explorer that is going to run for everybody who wants to run Transera. And you notice I'm running on my personal MacBook, and I'm running Internet Explorer, which is not a native Mac application. So I could be running this from my Android tablet, from my iPad, from my Windows desktop, whether it's my personal desktop or a Windows desktop issued by Red Cross. And so I'm a volunteer, and I need to reliably run this application, and I'm not sure my device has the correct browser for it. I just go to workplace.redcross.org and I launch Transera from there, and I can go in and register as being available to do casework. So we're going to close the application. The third type of tile is an actual entire desktop. So my desktop here is a Windows-based desktop that, when launched, will have all the things I need to do my Red Cross work. It'll have Outlook email, it'll have Skype for Business, which is Link, it'll have all the Office 2013 suite of applications, and it will be integrated with our OneDrive cloud storage solution, which is the Red Cross approved cloud storage solution, which gives me the ability to store about 1 terabyte of files. I'm in control of sharing those files. I'm in control of recovering those files, so if I intentionally or accidentally delete something and I need it back, then I'm empowered to do that. So a couple of usability things before we launch a desktop within the portal here. One is just the arrangement of tiles. You have a lot of flexibility in terms of arranging things. You can change the location, and that will be sticky. It will remember that the next time you log in. You can also, since there's more and more tiles being added here all the time, you can actually just click on favorites and you can see just your favorites. I'm going to go back and show all here. If I'm in the age of Google, that a lot of people like to search, then you can simply search as well. You can look at categories. So here's all the tools menu on the Exchange, so that shows you all those applications that are available there. And if you have an application that you say, well, these are my favorites, the ones with this yellow star in the upper right hand corner. Let's say I want to make this one a favorite as well. Then all I do is click in the lower right hand corner and make it a favorite. I'm going to remove it as a favorite, and then I decide that I don't want to see this application anymore. So I'm going to remove it altogether. It's going to remove it from my list of tiles altogether. You see it go away. And then later I decide I want it back. I can simply go up to the App Center here, and I can find the app, and I can add it back. I go back up here and click on My Apps, and here it is added back, and I want to put it back where it was when I first started the demo, and there it is, and it'll be there next time I log on. So in accessing these applications, the published virtual applications that I showed you, Transera, for example, is one of our HR Direct Access for eTime is very popular because of all the compatibility issues we've had with folks running eTime. It requires a very specific version of Internet Explorer, a specific Java component that is very much legacy, and we can deliver that application through the virtual workplace insulated from other applications. So that fragile landscape of your desktop C drive is not a problem for us anymore as we deploy more applications through this solution. That will allow us now, as we change the way we deliver applications, to use the virtual workplace. Now we can deliver these applications without fear of damaging whatever is your line of business application running on your local device. And that will allow us to upgrade the operating systems on a more regular basis, and the browsers and all of the other components that are there as part of that desktop. The desktop then becomes more of a portal to applications and not so much a place where we have application soup with all of these different application images that we try and deploy local to the device that end up not playing well with each other over time. So this is a way for us to, in containerized silos, deliver applications like eTime here in HR Direct Access and Transera, and they'll run independently, and every time they'll run in a reliable fashion because we take the vendor requirements and we bake them into those applications and we deliver those to you isolated from the others. One of the things that is going to be needed in a coming release of the solution is the ability to run these applications without the aid of a client. Today, to run a virtual published application, we have to have a Horizon View client installed. It's the only thing that's required. You don't need a VPN client. And in our next release, you won't even need the Horizon View client. Now, the client is still going to be necessary when you want to do advanced functionality like mapping Bluetooth or USB devices like a headset, a keyboard, or a mouse, or if you want to access local storage on your device itself. But clientless is a great way to go for things where you don't need those functions or you can do without them in the moment. And that'll really open up the ability for folks like volunteers to access things like Transera without even having a client on their device. The clients are available from the major app stores, whether it's Google Play for Android or the App Store for iOS devices. And so to change the client preferences here, one would just see if I access by way of the client, I have the client here, and if I use browser, then it will not use the client at all in doing this. So I'm going to launch a desktop with the aid of a client, and we're going to see a full desktop experience launch here. And what's happening right now is in our data center, we're getting an operating system instance spun up uniquely for me. So I'm not sharing this operating system with anyone. It is customizing it for me. It's remembering where I stored my icons, what I had on my desktop, and that sort of thing. And it presents it to me here. So now I have a Windows 7 based desktop with all of the latest Microsoft Office suite of tools here available to me. It's integrated with our Red Cross OneDrive cloud storage solution. We have tools like Skype, which is Link rebranded, so this is Skype for Business, formerly known as Link. You have your Outlook email, you have your VCE soft phone, if you're a soft phone user, and all these things are available and work in the virtual workplace. We have two browsers, Internet Explorer and Chrome, here made available. And I'm going to show you one of the differences right now in running with the client and running without the client. So you'll see with the client, I'm able to access the local drive on my MacBook, for example. If I was running clientless, then I would not be able to do that. I wouldn't be able to map a USB headset or a USB or mouse keyboard or Bluetooth devices. One other thing I want to point out here is the integration we've built in to make cloud storage appear local to you. So this O drive mapping here is my American Red Cross OneDrive. And here I can traverse my cloud storage solution right here as I would browsing a Windows-based file share, for example, my F drive, which is my personal Red Cross file share. And here I can browse these cloud storage repository. And that integration is there in tools like My Computer and Windows Explorer. It's also built into the Microsoft Office 2013 suite of applications that we make available to you here. You notice it knows who I am right here. There's Dave Bullimore at redcross.org. And I'm able to go in and work directly with OneDrive for Business and browse these files just as I was showing you and work on them real time. And the benefit of this is that in addition to all those things, the capacity and the flexibility to share these documents and to recover them, the great thing is now that these documents are available to me through the virtual workplace, they're also available to me outside of the virtual workplace. In other words, I can get a OneDrive for Business app on my iPhone, on my Android device, on my Windows-based desktop, whether it's a Red Cross desktop or not, and I can access those files from anywhere now. And I don't need the VPN client to do that. So this cloud storage solution is really an important part of the virtual workplace environment. As I mentioned, we've actually have two browsers here, much like we have today in our Red Cross desktop environment. So the other things I want to show you quickly here are, even though we live in this digital world, everybody still wants hard copy from time to time, so we've thought of that. We have a solution called UniPrint that is built into the virtual workplace, and so I can print to my local printer, whether that's a physically attached device, USB printer, or whether it's a wireless printer that's attached to my workstation. And we also can let you print to Red Cross defined printers. So these are two printers in our Durham office, and I can print to either one of them. Currently this one is my default. So we've thought about being able to print. And one of the other things that I'd like to show you is a really neat feature that really helps with mobility. So you have the ability to manually disconnect or experience a disconnect that was not planned. And the example I like to give is I'm in an airport, which has happened before, and I've got 20 minutes of free Wi-Fi, and I'm not paying attention to time, and I'm composing an email. I've got a document opening that I'm editing in this space here, and all of a sudden the Wi-Fi gets plugged, the rug gets pulled out from under me. Well, no worries. I go ahead and put another quarter in the Wi-Fi meter at the airport. I reestablish my connection. I log back onto the virtual workplace, and I click on my desktop, and I come back to my desktop right here, right where I left off. So the cursor's in the email right where I left off. The document that I had open is open. Whatever else was on the desktop running at the time is open. So that's for an unplanned disconnection, and I can actually do that if I have a reason to just disconnect, say I need to get up and move, and I want to not log off and send everything back and close everything up. I just want to disconnect, and within the next 2 hours, I want to be able to come back and reacquire that desktop. And I can reacquire that desktop, not just on the device that I'm using now, but I can pick up any device. It could be my phone, it could be a tablet, it could be another computer. It does not have to be the same device. So that's a really cool feature there. It's part of the virtual workplace solution. And now I'm going to show you how to access this desktop without the aid of a client, so you see what that looks like. So we saw with the client that I had access to devices local, my MacBook hard drive. I could have access to a USB or Bluetooth keyboards and headsets and all of that sort of thing. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to change my preferences, and I'm going to say now when I open a desktop that I want to use the browser. So I want to do this without the aid of the client software on the device. And again, this ability to launch published virtual applications without the aid of the client is coming in our next release. So those applications like Transera and HR Direct Access, soon you'll be able to launch those on devices without the aid of a client, just natively through your browser. So we're going to launch a desktop here again. And this time, instead of it running in its own space, you'll notice that the entire desktop, the Windows desktop, will run in a Chrome frame here on my MacBook. So you notice we're still on a Mac, and we're going to run a Windows-based desktop, and it's going to appear. So the same steps are happening right now as they did when I loaded the client. I'm getting my own operating system instance started for me. It's applying the personalization that I have, so remembering where my icons are, what I had on my desktop, preferences in terms of home websites, the default websites when you start up your browsers, that sort of thing. So here we are, and I'm running an entire desktop within a Chrome frame here on my MacBook. And so all of the things that I could do before, I can do with the exception of mapping to local resources. I won't be able, for example, this time when I start up Explorer here, I'm not going to be able to see the local hard drive on my MacBook, you'll see. So There's no local MacBook resources there. I can still do things like play videos and listen to audio. I can still IM people. I can use all of these tools. I just can't access, I won't have two-way audio, so I won't be able to communicate with my microphone, for example, because I can't map my microphone through without the aid of the client. So it's the same solution, just with a couple of those features missing when you're not running the client. But when you think about it, if you need to get in here and do email or link people with Skype for Business, or whether you're creating documents or browsing websites or accessing line of business applications, you can do all of that without the aid of the client. So with that, I'm going to just go ahead and log out of my desktop here altogether and go back here to the virtual workplace and remind you that if you want to use this virtual workplace, it's a great solution for improving your mobility, choice of device, again, any device, anywhere access, and we hope you'll visit workplace.redcross.org and give it a try. And if there's something there or not there that you need, please let us know. We're working to augment this list of line of business applications every day. So we have about 4 different applications in the queue right now. 10 are being tested that are not available here. 4 more are in the queue to be built, and we are interested in providing whatever line of business app that you need here through the virtual workplace.